Hey everyone, welcome back to Cracking the Fang Interviews. Today I'm going to be solving a very important Amazon interview question, which has been very popular on LeetCode for various Amazon interviews. It's called Lowest Common Ancestor. The question has also been asked at Salesforce and Facebook, by the way. And again, this is LeetCode number 236. I encourage you to check this out. Link to the problem is in the description down below. And if you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel to stay tuned for more exclusive tech coding and programming interview questions. Let's dive into the problem. The problem is asking us to find the lowest common ancestor. So let's first understand what the lowest common ancestor means. And there's a definition on Wikipedia that's provided here, which says the lowest common ancestor is defined between two nodes, P and Q, as the lowest node in the tree that has P and Q as its descendants. So you're trying to find a parent, in simple words, which has both the nodes that have been given to you. And when I say lowest common ancestor, it means this node is a parent to both of them, and it's the lowest in the tree hierarchy. So if you were to be looking at an example, this is the tree which is given to us, and we've been given these two nodes, 5 and 1. So 5 is here, 1 is here. Simply speaking, what is the lowest common ancestor? It's 3. So you need to find 3. This is relatively a simple example to make the idea clear. I'm going to dive into another one. So in this given tree, you've been asked to find lowest common ancestor for 5 and 4. So 5 is here and 4 is here. And the lowest common ancestor for both of these nodes, 5 and 4, is actually 5 itself. The reason being it has access to 5, so it's an ancestor to itself, and by definition it's already an ancestor to 4. I hope this made sense. Let's dive into thinking about how we'll solve it. So what I want you to note here is what we learned from this example is we are trying to find a parent slash ancestor, and a node can be its own ancestor. I want you to keep these 2 points in mind, and these are going to be very important as we write the solution. So whenever I have this kind of a problem where I'm trying to find a parent, right? I want to sort of form a template here which you can use as a concept to internalize and apply in later examples as well. Don't just think about this problem. For any tree problem which is trying to ask you something like find me a parent or an ancestor, or maybe find me where both of these nodes sort of come together, anything that has to do with branching, right? So the template here that I'm establishing is called branching, and upwards branching is what I want to specifically address. This is a common type of question that you'll see in the interview. The method I usually like to apply is DFS, which is depth first search, or you can also call it recursion. They are exactly the same thing. I would call DFS as an application of the recursion concept. So what you're doing is you're going depth first, you sort of explore, you go all the way down, and then you return a signal upwards saying, okay, I've found this node. And whenever the signal has been received at one point, you can simply say, I have seen both the things I was both the nodes I was trying to find here, and I'm the parent. Just want to make this a little more concrete. I'll actually do an example. So if we were to be trying to find ancestors for 6 and 0, we'd do depth first search. We'd go down all the way in our call stack. We'd find 6. We'd return, for example, if we return a status 1, value 1, 3, at 3 you have a value return 1 from your left branch, right? And similarly, you'd find 0, so you'd return 1 here, you'd return 0 here, for example. And at 3, you'd have a value returned 1, so 3 got the signal where it found both its children that we were looking for, 6 and 0. So 3 is the LCA, lowest common ancestor. I'm going to simply apply this concept of going depth first in these kinds of search problem. All right, let's start looking at the code, and the code is fairly simple. It's nothing but plain old DFS. And as the base case in DFS goes, if you're trying to go through a tree, you get to something which does not exist, you simply return none. So this is the base case. And if either of your node has found the value, so if you found P or maybe Q here, you simply return that node. So I'll simply return a pointer to that node. And this is DFS, standard DFS. You go left searching, you go right searching. And one thing to note is, if you've received signal, if you don't receive anything from your left, you return the status of your right. So if for example, if I was looking for let's call this 1 2 3 and 4, and I'm looking for 6 on this side, left in this search, left is going to be none because it couldn't find 6. Right is going to be none, right? So what we do is we simply return and you're looking for 6, right, in this example. So if left is none, you return what right has. You're essentially trusting the other one got something, because left does not have anything to give, and right could also be none, so you're simply returning none in that case. And if your right actually is none, you simply trust left, right? So that is the way. And if you're looking for 2 nodes P and Q, in this case 3 here and 6, your left is gonna send the node 3, right is gonna be none, so your 2 is simply gonna return 3, and 6 is going to be returned. So it sort of works out if you think of DFS and why it's trying to do. Your yielding is what I like to call it yielding signal from either left or right. And there could be a case when both are none, right? So you couldn't find anything coming from left or right. In that case, sorry, both are not none. I want to make a correction here, not none. For example, if you were looking for looking for 3 here and you're looking for 4, both are gonna return a value. In that case, 2 is the LCA, right? And you're gonna return 2, which is the root. And there could also be a case where which we saw in the earlier example. I wanna solve this one again so that the idea is clear. Where you're looking for 5 and 4, 5 and 4. So this is gonna return none. This is gonna return 4. 2 is gonna return 4. This is gonna return none. And what's gonna happen is, now you've found the value here, right? At this point, it's simply gonna return 5, which was our base case. So it does not even need to do all of this, because you have a base case where the value matches, which we wrote here. Because if you have gotten to a point where you've found a value and you're returning it, meaning and you've not found the value on the other side, this is the value. So there's no value that's going to be found on the right as we do the recursion. We would not even go searching for 4 in that case. And because we couldn't find anything on the right, 5 is the LCA itself. I hope this made sense. It's a little tricky, but I really encourage you to solve this with examples, so it makes sense. This is plain old DFS with signal yielding. The signal is essentially telling you if it found the value or not. And if you've not found, if essentially both tell you if they haven't found anything, you are the value, right? So you sort of return yourself. Thank you for watching yet another video. And the time complexity of this problem is going to be the maximum depth. Essentially you go through every node in the tree, so it's going to be linear. The space complexity is going to be the height, maximum depth or height as you want to call it, which can be O of n in the worst case. So it's a linear algorithm of searching.